Right, today we are going to look at the elements of living and non-living things. So first we have a galaxy, clearly non-living. It is made up of different types of matter. Our galaxy is huge. It's just one galaxy inside of our entire universe. What we don't know about our universe is far more than what we do know. However, we do know this one very important thing. We know that the universe is what the universe is made of. Everything in the universe, you and me, a squirrel, an oak tree, Venus, the sun, we're all made from the elements on this table. They make up the cells inside of us, and they make up the surface and the atmosphere of the different planets and stars. So here's a look at the different terrestrial planets as well as the gas giants, and you can see on the chart that there are different elements in the atmosphere of these planets. So you have oxygen, carbon, sodium, helium, carbon to name it again, and hydrogen in their atmospheres. And you have a lot of those elements and additional elements in the core and the crust of the planets. Here are where those elements are located on the periodic table, just 5 of them. So all the elements that we just listed, you can find on the periodic table of elements. It's a great data table of everything that makes up the universe. Now, the surprising thing is that you can find the same elements from the periodic table in our bodies. So you can see here on this diagram of the silhouette of the human that we have carbon and hydrogen in it. Every living thing has a dominant presence of carbon and hydrogen in it. We also have oxygen, nitrogen, and some other trace elements. Trace elements means that they're present, but only in a small amount. On the periodic table, you can also find carbon and hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first element on the periodic table in the upper left-hand corner, and carbon is the 6th element. These elements can bond together. Any of these elements can bond together with other elements or with themselves to make molecules. A molecule is an atom of elements combined to make a new substance. So here you have a diagram of an atom. You'll notice that they are 4 different colors. So that would represent 4 different atoms of 4 different elements. They can combine together to make a molecule. So now you have one molecule that is bonded together with 4 different elements, and these little lines that are attaching the molecules together, that represents the bond that the atoms share. And we're going to first take a look at oxygen. Oxygen is an element that you guys should be fairly familiar with since you breathe it in every day. It's also an element on the periodic table. It's the 8th element. Right, and it can be combined with another atom of oxygen to make oxygen gas. So here you have oxygen in this red circle. And then when it combines to make oxygen gas, it just bonds with another oxygen atom. So the chemical formula for oxygen gas would be O2. The way that we show this is we usually use circles to represent different atoms, and then we usually use a line to represent a bond between 2 atoms. All right. Oxygen can also combine with hydrogen to make water. So in this model, we have hydrogen. Here, we have hydrogen here in white. It's much smaller than oxygen, and we have 2 hydrogen atoms bonded together with 1 oxygen atom, and that makes water, which its chemical formula is H2O. So 2 atoms of hydrogen combined with 1 atom of oxygen to make water. Oxygen can also combine with carbon. With carbon, it commonly makes carbon dioxide. Here you have oxygen in red, carbon in black. Here you have 1 atom of carbon for every 2 atoms of oxygen. So this is called carbon dioxide. The chemical formula is CO2 because for every 2 atoms of oxygen, you get 1 atom of carbon in this molecule. All right, carbon can also combine with carbon and hydrogen at the same time. This is what makes up sugar or glucose. You've probably heard of this compound or this molecule with talking about photosynthesis and respiration. So we have the same code here. We have the oxygen in red, the hydrogen in white, and the carbon in black. And you can see that there it is a more complicated molecule. It has 6 carbon, which are the black ones here, 12 hydrogen, which are the white ones, and 6 oxygen, which are the red ones. And in a higher level science, you will learn about why it bonds this way. But in 7th grade science, what you need to know is that you have C6H12O6 as our glucose or our sugar molecule. So the question here is, how many carbons are there in a molecule of carbon? And the answer, we can't see it right now, but it just should have screened in. Oop, there it is. 6. There are 6 carbon atoms in this molecule of glucose. All right, so you guys are going to group up and complete 3 different slides. You're going to make these different molecules of photosynthesis. But you're just going to make 3 out of the 4. We're not going to task you to make the glucose one because it is a little bit more complicated. So here's the task. Make 6 molecules of oxygen by clicking and dragging the oxygen atom over to the molecule side. Insert the lines between the atoms to show the bond. The first one is done for you. All right, so there we go. If this line is too big, you can format it by clicking and dragging all over the place. You can also click, if you click on it and then right click, you can just do the order and send it backward, and it'll put it behind the different shapes. All right, so here we have an oxygen molecule. You have 2 oxygen atoms combined together, bonded together, and you can show that with the line. So you'll notice that this is slide 1 of 3. So we're also going to do a molecule of water. So you're going to do that by combining your oxygen with your 2 hydrogen for some H2O. And again, you can put in your bonds. Right, so the oxygen does have a little bit of a cutout, so you're not going to get it the bond to be exactly into the oxygen, but that's just because of the way that it's formatted. It's just going to be, there's a box actually around the circle. So let's see here. And then our last molecule that we're going to be making is carbon dioxide. So you take 1 carbon to 2 oxygen atoms, and then you combine them together. All right, so you and your group want to combine together, and you're going to make 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, 6 molecules of water, and 6 molecules of oxygen gas together. And the reason why you're going to make 6 is, 1, so that every person has practiced doing the clicking and the dragging and making them. And then 2, when you make it, you will have made 3 out of the 4 molecules that are present during photosynthesis. So well done, congratulations. So you've made 6 of the carbon dioxide, you made 6 of the water, and you made 6 of the oxygen. Notice that the carbon dioxide and the water are on the left-hand side. That makes them the reactants. They're what react together. And then the sugar and the oxygen are on the right-hand side. Those are called the products. Those are what are produced. And we'll talk more about reactants and products later. The one thing I do want to warn you about is that this final slide does have a different color code. You'll notice that the carbon is still black, but they chose to use oxygen in white and hydrogen in red. So if it looks a little off at first, it's probably because you're used to different colors. Okay, your teacher will guide you to your work now, your group work.